And still continuing our rolling and live coverage of the nationwide protests supporting President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and defying, saying no to chaos. We're to shed more light on this very important event taking place nationwide. We're most delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Saeed Sadek. He's a professor of international relations. Good afternoon, Dr. Sadek.
Good afternoon, my dear.
Doctor, good to have you with us on ILTV International. Well, first of all, if you can give us your overview of what is taking place nationwide, and what does this send a message? What kind of message does that send to the international community, and also to those who are trying to instigate chaos and destroy the country?
Very good. As you know, Egypt had been into two revolutions, 2011 and 2013. And in all those revolutions, you had certain characteristics. Trade unions, professional unions participating, women, men, cops, students, everybody was participating. But this one, in 2019, this is a fabricated attempt to show that there is revolution and there is unrest. This is all fabricated by media from Qatar and Istanbul and the Muslim Brotherhood. So from the beginning, people began to feel that this is not their revolution, this is not their case, it's somebody exploiting some of the problems that exist in many countries. Egypt is not alone. A lot of countries have problems regarding poverty, economic crisis. Oh, look, tell me which country doesn't have problem? Europe has problem. America has problem. But nobody is expecting that, because if I have a problem, I go and make nationwide protests to destroy the country or to cause a civil war or to cause chaos. I mean, it took Egypt about 8 or 9 years to restore what used to happen, the economic conditions that existed in 2010. Still, we are not near that. For example, in 2010, maybe I used to get to 12 million tourists. Today, I have 8.5 million. If I make revolution today, what will happen? Is it going to improve things or not? What about the status of the Egyptian economy, foreign investment, stability? So a lot of people began to feel that this is a fabricated attempt to make Egypt another failed country like we have so many in the Middle East. Egypt's borders are near fire. You have Libya, you have Sudan, you have Gaza, you have Syria, you have Yemen, you have Iraq, you have many countries are not stable. Do you think the whole world would be happy to see another instability in the Middle East? And whose interest? And what's it for? Does anybody who is calling for revolution and hitting the street has a unifying national program? Do they have solution to anything, or just chaos? The only program they have is chaos. That is the only program. That is the real program. And that shows you again the impact of using satellite and social media to instigate people. And I think that this was from the beginning the game. They decided not to put this contractor Muhammad Ali on Al Jazeera directly, so they prefer that he goes on his own as an independent. That he looks like an independent YouTuber, and then later on they bring him repeat all his videos to instigate instability and call for chaos in the country. And I think Egyptians realize that, and so today you don't have any.
Yeah, but Doctor, in light of what you are noting, we're seeing live pictures now from the memorial of the unknown soldier in the Nasr City neighborhood east of the capital, Cairo, showing thousands of Egyptians on the streets standing for what they believe in a very civilized way, with volunteers volunteers wearing uniforms to organize the protest in order not to block traffic, waving their banners with pictures of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and also with the Egyptian flags standing harmoniously and stronger than ever to send a clear message that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is their chosen and their legitimate president. How do you see these pictures?
I think the demonstration is for stability. They are just saying, we want stability. Yes, like any other country, we have economic problems. We have some poverty. We have this, we have that, but things are improving. We are not like others. I mean, look at some of the countries that have gone through revolutions. We have been through 2 revolutions before, and we are still standing. And we are building our country. We are doing a lot of things that others are envying us. For example, Africa has 54 countries. Egypt has the highest economic growth in Africa. We are much better than Nigeria and South Africa and Algeria. Those countries used to have the biggest growth rate in Africa. Look also at compare Egypt's economic growth to countries in the Gulf who are very rich and are far more richer than us. Look what they are doing. They are also having trouble, big trouble, economically, and Egypt is doing its best. And of course, but when we talk about poverty, poverty also is not the government policy. The government doesn't want people to be poor, but some people, their social practices, like having so many children when they cannot afford it, and then they complain, "Oh, we are so poor." Sometimes I see women appearing on TV and saying, "I have 7 children, government, how can I feed them?" The question, why do you have 7 children? Why do you decide to have so many children and then you complain? If Egypt is producing 2.6 million children every year, this is the population of Lebanon in 2 years. This is the population of Tunisia in 5 years. How can you become rich? How can you raise your living standards if you keep doing this kind of overpopulation?
Yes, Dr. Saeed Sadek, Professor of International Relations. As always, we really do appreciate your insight and your presence on Nile TV International. Dear viewers, now we move on to a short break and then we'll be back to resume this rolling coverage of the nationwide protests that are taking place in Egypt in support of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and defying the calls for spreading and instigating chaos in an attempt by the hostile governments as well as the terrorist organization, the Muslim Brotherhood, their failed attempt to destroy the country. Dear viewers, short break and we'll be back.